From Lauterbrunnen, we could just catch the train back to Interlaken to our hotel and relax for the afternoon. That would be pretty nice. It's just another half an hour, you're back in Interlaken. Or from Lauterbrunnen, you can catch one of these little cream and brown trains that will take you up the other side of the valley, up heading towards the Jungfrau. We're going to go up, 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 where we'll have a nice view looking down into Lauterbrunnen, heading for the little town of Wengen for yet another adventure. This is one of the most beautiful scenic rides that you will ever encounter in your travels anywhere.
Now, to get the best views on this special rail journey, you need to know where to sit and what to look for. Otherwise, you could completely miss the most spectacular sights. When you get on the train, you want to sit on the right side of the train by a window, and go ahead and pull the window down so you have an unobstructed view, because you're about to see one of nature's most astonishing sights, equal to the great landscapes of Yosemite or the Grand Canyon. And you see, as the train climbs up the side of the mountain, this majestic vista of Lauterbrunnen unfolds below you, the deep green valley framed by the steep walls and massive snow-covered peaks all around. And then the train makes a curve, and you get an even better view. And this astonishing vista is only visible for about 1 minute. So you have to be ready for it. And here it is, looking in the correct direction with your camera turned on and ready to shoot to catch that decisive moment. That grand view appears on the right side of the train, just about 10 minutes into the ride after you've left the village of Lauterbrunnen. And there it is. You get this sweeping view from one side of the valley to the other. It's really worth being in the right place at the right time, because if you're not paying attention, if you're sitting on the wrong side of the train, looking in the wrong direction, you could easily miss it. And you would have missed one of the greatest sights in all of nature. So do it right, sit on the right side of the train, and enjoy that fabulous view into Lauterbrunnen.
Hope you'll agree that was a spectacular view. We're arriving now in the town of Wengen, which overlooks the Lauterbrunnen Valley. We get off our little train and take a stroll through the village. Wengen is a little bigger than Mürren, where we had lunch just earlier in the program, but it is also free of cars, so it's a peaceful village. You cannot drive here. You've got to come by train, and once you get here, the only way to get around is by walking. You could stay on the train and keep going up the mountain to Kleine Scheidegg, where you change trains to go up to the Jungfrau. We've done that before in an earlier episode of World Traveler, so today we're going to take you on a different routing altogether. After poking around this little village of Wengen, we're going to ride another cable car, and this is going to take us to the top of the mountain at Menleken, and from there we'll ride another cable car down the other side to the little village of Grindelwald. And from that point, we'll go back on down to Interlaken. Now you see a view of the cable car that's going to take us up the hill to Menleken. Just a short ride, takes about 5 or 10 minutes, and you're at the top. You could walk it if you want to, there's a trail, but this is a very steep mountain. Maybe if you wanted to walk down, it would be easier. Walking up, you'd really have to be in shape to get up to the top of Menleken. Much easier to go by cable car. It's really quite lovely to see these mountain peaks gliding by. It's almost like you're a bird soaring overhead. From this point, you can go hiking. We've arrived at the top of Menleken, or you can get on another cable car and ride down the other side of the mountain to Grindelwald, which is what we're going to do. In the distance, you see the Jungfrau, the great mountain peak that's about 13,000 feet high. There is a train that goes up to the Jungfrau Joch at 12,000 feet. It's the highest train station in all of Europe. Grindelwald is covered with snow in the wintertime, but here in the summer it's a beautiful mountain pasture. Cows are out grazing in their summer pasture with little streams and rivulets. It's a delightful, tranquil scene. The Jungfrau and the Eiger always towering over you on one side, and the little town of Grindelwald down below in the distance. Grindelwald enjoys a Fantastic location. Sit here in the midst of the Bernese Oberland. And from Grindelwald, numerous excursions are possible. You can hike up the mountains, down the valley. You can ride various other cable cars. You can walk to the face of the Grindelwald Glacier. Hikers can continue to various little restaurants and overnight inns along the way with impressive views. And along the trail you see magnificent views of the east face of the Eiger, the glacier down below, and the Fleischerhorn. Here's Grindelwald in the distance, and our cable car will soon take us into this quaint little village. Now, we have toured Grindelwald previously in other episodes of World Traveler. So for now, we're just going to get off our cable car. It's already getting pretty late in the afternoon. We've had a full day. And head back down to Interlaken by train. Very convenient connection. You get off the cable car from the Mannlichenbahn and you walk about 50 yards and you find yourself right away at the train station. Up on your train, it's one all-inclusive ticket on the train that took us up to Lauterbrunnen, and now it's going to take us back down to Interlaken from Grindelwald. It's another beautiful scenic train ride. So with this routing, we have not retraced our steps. We've gone in a complete circle and seen new sights all the way along throughout the entire day. We get our final views of the three great mountains of the Bernese Oberland. Do you remember them? The Jungfrau, the Monk, and the Eiger. Spectacular day today. It cleared up beautifully, and we have a grand vista all the way down through this beautiful valley, and we reach Interlaken in less than half an hour, arriving at the meadow again, the Hohe Mata. This beautiful meadow was preserved since 1864, a great example of town planning. So these big hotels facing the meadow have a grand view of the mountains beyond. Interlaken is a nice town to make your base for a few days because of its proximity to these fantastic mountain peaks and valleys. And the town itself is cute. There's a whole number of restaurants here. There's little shops. There's these malls with the banners for pedestrians. There's 2 train stations. There's bus service that'll take you around the town. You can also rent a bicycle from any of the train stations in Switzerland, and you'd be pleasantly surprised if you took a bicycle ride through the residential back roads of Interlaken. You might see some cows in the backyards. It's a very rustic and rural place once you get away from this main street, but the locals like to hang out in town as well. Interlaken is located, as the name tells you, between 2 lakes. Lake Thun and Lake Brienz that are connected by the river Ara. And you can also enjoy some boat excursions out on the lake. There are 2 train stations here, the east and the west, and they each have their main international rail connections as well as local cable car and cog railway connections to some of the nearby peaks. It's a nice town for a twilight stroll. Many of the shops are open since it's catering to the tourists. And you can certainly find a restaurant that will fit your budget, ranging from a tea room to an extravagant meal at one of the top restaurants. One of the top hotels is this 5-star Grand Hotel Victoria Jungfrau, a Victorian palace that dates back to the 1880s. In perfect condition today, of course, very deluxe, very grand. You can take a stroll inside the hotel and have a drink, even if you're not a guest here, of course. You're welcome to dine in the restaurant or sign up to use their indoor tennis courts. There's another 5-star hotel in town called the Grand Hotel Beau Rivage, and it too is very swank, very deluxe. You could stay at bed and breakfasts in this town at the other end of the scale, or at any number of medium-sized, medium-priced hotels scattered throughout Interlaken. It's a world-class town with accommodations in all price ranges. And if you have any money left over, you can throw it away in the casino. Yes, they have gambling in Switzerland in selected towns only, and Interlaken is one of those towns that has a gambling parlor, and they've got roulette, they've got a lot of slot machines, a lot of video poker machines on the inside. We'll just give you a quick peek inside the casino. It was first built back in the 1850s, and it's been rebuilt a whole bunch of times since then. So today, it's very much state-of-the-art, modern technology in this casino. It's not a huge casino, and gambling is not a big deal in Switzerland, but it is available for those of you who'd like to try your luck. The casino is set in a delightfully landscaped garden with a fountain, and during the summer there are frequent concerts outdoors. You might even hear some yodeling here on the front lawn of the casino, or symphonic concerts or dance bands. Interlaken has a tradition of open-air performances, and sometimes you might even catch an opera outdoors in Interlaken in the summertime. Back to our hotel, they have a nice outdoor dining terrace and an indoor restaurant, and breakfast, of course. Every morning we have breakfast together, our group from Hawaii, as we get ready for the next day's adventures. And today's a big one because we're leaving Interlaken behind